there are probable cause affidavits that do exist in the world right now with a whole bunch of clues as to a whole bunch of things being left out of the probable cause affidavit. And you go, when you start reading it and you read it the first time, you go, wait a minute. Like your brain made a bunch of connections, and cops are very good at doing this. Your brain made a bunch of connections of steps that you assume must have happened to get from one sentence to the next sentence to the next sentence to lead you to this claim of probable cause. But you read it again and again and again, and then you notice, well, here's something that's weird. This is missing how this part gets to this part. And you know there's a way that this thing happened. I started investigating. It's like, well, there's a difference there. This is a time that's passed and no explanation for why this thing leads to this thing. Were you assigned the case? Did someone talk to you about it? Did you take a special particular interest in it? Was there an informant or a concerned citizen? And if those aren't in there, if you don't know how A to B happened in the probable cause statement, now you know there's something else that's missing. But the trick is when you read these things the first time, you do a glance over and you're like, okay, this story makes some sense. And it's as you spend time reading and reading and reading. The other way you find out about this is the defendant is they are the best source of the actual facts, the reality of the situation. So when the defendant, if they're cognizant of their own life and their own situation, if they were conscious, if they know their story, they can be a very good resource to say, this isn't right, this isn't right, this isn't right. Or how would this thing happen in this way and not this other way? Logically, it should happen this way. So if you've got a good resource of the facts and you do a careful read over and over and over again, that's when you start to find clues that there are holes in the story. Like you said, you have to figure out where you know something is not there. And that is just time. Time is how you have the best lawyering, at least at this part of the trial. I mean, sure, certainly, a great trial lawyer who's got a great opening statement, great at cross-examination, all that matters. But prior to trial, pre-trial, it's literally research, read, and invest as much time as you can possibly put into it. Most people can't afford that time. Most people can't put that time into it themselves. They don't have the training. They don't know what they're looking for. And public defenders have 200, 300 files. And that's in slow counties. They don't have the time to spend 3 hours reading the probable cause statement multiple times. Then the next day, hit it again. Then wait maybe 2-3 days. Some new stuff comes in. They look at that probable cause statement again. They go, something's missing here. And I didn't know it until I saw this thing. Now that I see this thing, I know that they missed something, or more likely they left it out. So where is it? Can you elaborate on that? Did I miss anything?
No. I mean, that's exactly. And what I try to teach people is first learn what should be there. And like the best show that portrays this is the BBC version of Sherlock, right? Where he'll try to go and recreate. Yeah, exactly. And like live their steps. And by doing so, figure out what's missing, what isn't, what should be there that isn't, and it'll tell a story. It'll always narrate a story. And once you learn how to put that together, you can get into the mindset of the person that's writing or the person that's explaining something, the witness that's testifying or something, then you can start, like a great movie for this is if you want to see how this can happen innocently, Under Suspicion. Gene Hackman.
I haven't watched it. I'll watch it.
Oh, it's awesome in Puerto Rico. Morgan Freeman. And it's a cop who thinks he's working really hard to get the confession of a sophisticated lawyer as to a crime. And then you figure out in the end, it's very different than everybody thought. And so part of it's piecing together like what should be there versus what isn't. And for that, you need to know the methodology that the officers use, the traditional protocol that they employ, what they're trained and taught to do, and at whatever agency level. Like that case that I had where we figured out the documents were fake, they came from 8 different agencies. And we had to figure out all the different agencies' internal rules and all of it.
And it's signal to noise too. Like you get thousands and thousands of pages, and really it's about 250 pages that might be relevant, but going through 250 relevant pages and spending the time on those is a thick task. And again, every minute is money, and the legal system is just not it's not equipped for people who are of modest means.
You have to be really skilled. So there's like that show, The Judge, that was on like Showtime or whichever one it was, the New Orleans Judge. It started out good and the show went down the tank. But early on, the judge goes out physically to the scene where the cop supposedly saw something. And he gets to relive it and realize where the flaws are. And you need that kind of attention to detail and that kind of understanding of how things operate. And that's why even the cheapest case is expensive from a time perspective.
Right.
Like a 4-page search warrant affidavit may have more things hidden in it than you can possibly. Like the case I had that were found the